So it is almost 8 o'clock. I have not eaten dinner yet. I have, in fact, barely even gone inside the house since I got home from work. But we got some things done. So, first things first, we got an aftermarket stereo installed, which, yes, it, is very modern. It does not look like it's from the correct time period or whatever. But it does at least have the adjustable color, so I don't have to have like super obnoxious like red or whatever. I can change it to whatever I want. Um, that was the cigarette lighter. Remember the fancy wireless one? Well, I ran wires over to a 12-volt socket, and then it's plugged into a splitter. That's all getting cleaned up eventually because it's a complete mess. But that's so that we can plug phones and GPS and various things in for the trip. This was quite difficult because if you know anything about the way that these work, the stock stereo, you have this splitter here, or not splitter, I got no light, this fader right there, that thing. And as you can see, I cut all the wires going to it because I didn't need it anymore. So what I had to do was chase down all the actual speaker wires, because the way it works, the stock stereo just has two wires that go into the fader, and then the fader controls the signal out to the four main speakers. So what I did it pretty much the most difficult way possible. I pulled all the wiring that was in here out, and then you can see here that yellow tag is for the rear speakers, and here are the actual wires for the rear speakers. And what I did is I used all the stock connectors, even the ones from the splitter, so that I could use the parts that came with the wiring kit. So I had to use probably, 8 or 16 more splices than I normally would have, but it's more factory-ish wired versus just like chopping everything up and using a bunch of butt splices. I actually got this factory connectors in there, so everything can be disconnected at some point in the wiring easily without having to cut any wires. There are some like Pioneer speakers back there. They don't sound that great. I'll probably end up pulling them out, putting something else in. But while we were doing that, the car from the factory has an illumination wire to, obviously light up the stereo when the headlights are on. But since this one doesn't use it, I connected to this green wire, ran it up to the boost gauge, and then ran this black wire down also into there and spliced into the ground wire for the CD player. So now if we turn the headlights on, now it's not working. Cool. Okay, but the boost gauge was in fact illuminating. Now it is not. Some wire must have gotten disconnected or something, which is very unfortunate because I just put all this stuff completely back together. Whatever. So the other thing I did is there's this amalgam of wiring here. This is the same wire that goes up to there for illumination. What I'm going to do with this is allow 2 splices into it to run the illumination for the switches I'm going to put down here for the rally lights. And these are the relay activation wires for those lights that'll go to the switches. So, as you may have seen, the center console piece has quite a few cracks and splits in it. In my other Mercedes, I had the switches mounted up here, but this piece is in really good shape. There's no cracks or anything in it, so instead of drilling holes in that piece, I'm going to drill holes in this piece, probably here and here, to mount the switches for the fog lights and the driving lights. So, I guess that's it. I guess now I got to find out why the illumination for that boost gauge isn't working anymore. Apparently, I don't know what happened to it, but it's not working now, so that's cool. But that, or I'll do it tomorrow because it's already 8 o'clock. I need to go to bed soon, unfortunately.